we are today in Gary, Indiana, at Ridgelawn Cemetery. And we're here to visit murder victim Andrew Espinosa. Unfortunately, Andrew was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Him and 4 others were shot execution style, and surprisingly, 2 of them lived. So we're going to visit Andrew's grave, pay our respects, tell you a little bit about him. I didn't know him personally, but I do see a little something from online that I'll read. And then we'll go over to the murder location and actually show you where it happened and tell you all about it. So stick with me. Please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. So let's get to it.
New at 10, a cemetery submerged, graves completely underwater for weeks.
It's pretty clear today, but not too long ago, this area looked like a lake. Tough for anyone to see, but especially tough for those with loved ones buried here. People who never want to see this area look like that again. Ridgelawn Cemetery almost 2 weeks ago.
I can see her stone now.
She reached out to let us know the water covering this area for weeks finally cleared. So, what changed since we first started looking into this? The owner of this property told us then it was a drainage issue, claiming there's an issue off the property.
And if they have to put in new lines, that's what they're going to do.
Today, the Lake County surveyor told me they worked with a contractor to inspect drains in the area for blockage. He says obstructions were found in the private drain on this property and another private property. They were able to open portions of the drain while inspecting, but according to the office, obstructions still exist.
I don't ever want to see these graves underwater again. It breaks my heart.
So this area isn't in the clear yet. There's a hearing set for July 15th. With the Lake County Drainage Board to determine who's responsible for the remaining drain issues and who will pay for the fix.
So that's what was going on around here in 2020. That's a bad deal. Man, I'd hate to come to a cemetery and see one of my family members' grave underwater. That would suck. Andrew's grave's right over here. This is a pretty nice cemetery here. Not too many wow factor monuments, but nevertheless it's pretty nice. I love walking through cemeteries even if I don't personally know anybody in the cemetery. Here's a beautiful Guadalupe monument. Nice. And right here a little bit to the left is Andrew's grave. Very nice headstone. Andrew Espinosa was often heard saying, "Life's too short, everybody needs to get along." Those words were particularly ironic Saturday at Ridgelawn Funeral Home in Gary, where services for the 19-year-old quickly became standing room only. Espinosa, Missouri Street in Hobart was one of 3 people killed Tuesday in a home on Alabama Street in Hobart. 2 men survived the shooting. Andrew was always caring. He always stopped problems and helped everybody get along. He was a good, humble kid. He always wanted to help everybody with everything. He was drug-free and he was always motivated to do positive things. Andrew was known as the Peacekeeper, as well as a talented inline skater and skateboarder. Andrew's inline skates were displayed in the front of the funeral home during the sermon. Andrew was also known for being a talented sketch artist, drew faces of people he knew. That's all I could really find on Andrew. I didn't know him personally, and I don't know anybody that knew him. So, fortunately, Andrew wasn't the only victim that day. There was also Brittany Hott, and Lindsay Davidson. Like I said, there was 2 other guys that were shot, but they both survived. So there you have it. There's Andrew's grave. And now I'm going to take you to Hobart, Indiana, Alabama Street. Show you the location, tell you the story. Let's go. Alright, here we are in Hobart, Indiana. This is Alabama Street with the 3800 block, close to I-65 and Ridge Road. And this is the location, just a few doors down here where the murders occurred. There was a David Williams and Lorna Zaber who lived here. And it was a crack house, selling all kinds of drugs. He actually had 3 houses like this. They were all crack houses. And he was taking business away from another guy. The guys that actually did the crime, the killings, was Sajjad Rashid, Kirby Oliver, and Carl Major. They parked right here at this church and scoped the house out, and then went across the street to the alley and up behind the house. So Williams was at the house. Zaber, Daryl Mosley was the guy there. He was 22. Andrew Espinosa and Brittany Hott, they were both 19. And Lindsay Davidson, she was 20. So Kirby Oliver, Rashid, we'll just call him, and Carl Major, they came to the house to collect some money. And like I said, Williams was taking business away from Rashid. So Rashid put on a vest, and they all grabbed guns. They all put gloves on. They placed the guns in the trunk of the car. So after they pulled behind the house, they got their guns out of the trunk. Rashid was the leader. He told everybody, follow me. So they creep beside the house here, along the right side here, and come up to the front porch. So Rashid and Oliver made it to the front porch, and Rashid told Oliver to kick the door in, which he did. Right before that, inside the house, William heard a noise on the porch, and he looked out the blinds and saw a couple guys out there. As Williams walked away from the door, Oliver kicked the door in, and him and Rashid come in. They shot some shots up into the ceiling, demanded everybody get on the floor. Williams took off towards the back. According to Williams, when they come up to him in the back of the house, they caught him back there, asked him where the money and the dope were. Williams said he didn't know, and they started beating him, pistol whipping him, both of them. And then Williams gave him some money, and they picked him up off the ground. Williams led him to another bedroom to get some dope that was in there, and as he was reaching for the dope, he shot him right in the head. Rashid came out of the back room after shooting Williams, and he approached the black male that was in the living room, stuck his gun to his head, pulled the trigger, it just clicked. Rashid then swapped guns with Major and had the black guy get off the floor and took him into the back of the bedroom. Demanded money and drugs. He didn't have no money, but the guy gave him a rock of cocaine. Right then, Rashid shot him in the head. Rashid came out of the bedroom again, got the two girls and the one guy laying on the floor, walked right up to him, shot him in the head. While Rashid was shooting the two females, Oliver took off out of the house. Once outside, he heard another gunshot. Then he and Major headed toward the car. The last gunshot is where Andrew Espinosa was shot. So Major and Oliver are outside, going to the car, and they see flashlights. They think it's the cops. It's the neighbors. Heard what was going on, heard argument in the back of the house, arguing in the front, heard the gunshots. So they took off around the house towards the wooded area over here. Rashid ran out of the house, caught up with the other guys, and as they're running through the woods, they're discarding their stuff, the guns, the gloves, the hat, the vest, which don't make any sense, but that's what happened. And they cut through to the other street. They were seen going into the woods, and they were seen on the other street over there. So on the other street, they split up. Oliver was caught shortly thereafter. His pants were muddy, had a fast heartbeat, was sweating even though it was cold outside. He didn't resist. Hobart police were called to the scene. Officer Michael Tier and Officer Bill Granzo arrived. Tier entered the house. He could smell gunpowder, right away. It's in the air. He saw a young man laying on his side up against the couch in the living room. He was breathing, but not in good shape, that's for sure. He didn't respond to the cop at all. And as it turned out, that was Andrew Espinosa, and he died before medical made it to the scene. Officer Tier, he went into the dining area and saw two girls on the ground, both with shots in the back of their heads. They were both identified later as Brittany Hott and Lindsay Davidson. And then the cop went to the back of the residence there, and he could hear a male voice. It was a black male in the back that was shot in the head. He had blood all over his face. He was yelling for help. The cop stepped out the back door and could hear another guy yelling. Right away, he could see the guy has been shot in his head. As it turns out, that was David Williams and Daryl Mosley. They both survived. Mosley was hospitalized for several weeks after with a swollen brain and shattered facial bones. Williams has suffered from loss of memory, and he lost an eye in the shooting. The sense of smell has been gone ever since. Further suffers from seizures and daily headaches. So the cops go through the wooded area, find all the stuff, they dropped, found everything they dropped. Pretty easy case. In a statement, Carl Major, he admitted to going with Rashid to handle some business. He knew they were going to commit a robbery, and they intended to do it. When all said and done, Rashid received 270 years in prison. Kirby Oliver received 135 years. Carl Major received 175 years in prison. So there you have it. Horrible story. A lot of wasted life. Should have never happened. I believe just some of these young guys were there. Everybody wasn't bad. I mean, come on. It definitely, nobody had a reason to die, that's for sure. Let's let them guys rot in prison. It's only been since 2005. Alright, I appreciate everybody watching. If you would please like and subscribe, it would really help the channel. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.